Man, this sucks. I got real work to do on actual videos. I got my 2023 recap video to do. I got a channel update video I want to work on. I got the half-minute game review shorts. Please watch them if you haven't. But before I can continue work on any of that, I gotta talk about the Killer Pool movie. I didn't even think I'd have anything to say about the Killer Pool movie. But no. Killer Pool. Let's do this. In 2016, I was in Anaheim, California for VidCon. One of the events at the convention was a screening of the film Lights Out, which was preceded by a viewing of the short film that it was based on, which I thought was a nice touch. And even though I did enjoy that screening of the film, it was very entertaining because the audience was juiced up for all the jump scares. It was a younger audience, so they were into it. Even with all of that, when I left, I felt like the short film was better. In 2024, I was in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, at my local mall, where I saw a screening of the movie Night Swim, which was not preceded by the short film that it was based on. Instead, a 30-foot-tall Maria Menounos asked me to join her heel squad, when I prefer the babyface squad. That joke is property of my friend Gray. Having watched the short film after the fact, I feel the same way about it as I did about Lights Out. The short film was better. The entire concepts behind those short films work so well because there's really only one major moment that's being built up towards. There's no need for lore, character development, or even dialogue. Not to say that there's no craft behind making a horror short, but you can come up with a spooky concept and execute it. As long as you've got the timing down, you can be successful. If you're then taking the concept of your short film and extending it for a feature film, you better come at it with some ideas. The problem with Night Swim is that it had precisely two ideas for scares. Either someone reaches for something that's in the pool and gets grabbed, or is already in the pool, treads water in the exact center of the deep end, looking around confused until they get grabbed. Well, this is starting to sound a little samey. Do we have any other ideas? Well, I was thinking maybe this time, instead of it being the dad who gets grabbed, the kid gets grabbed. Is that it? It was like, is that all we got? There's a pet cat. Oh, poor kitty. Oh, don't worry. We can cut the lights out during that part. Cut the lights out, you say? That's interesting. Could we do that like 200 more times? I see no reason why not. The lights are on a remote. Sick. Sounds like we got ourselves a feature film. I do feel bad for the writers that had to make this work. I mean, talk about living your life on hard mode, coming up with the reason why the killer pool is a killer pool. I do commend them. I feel like most hacks would have just said it was a ghost or a demon with a silly sounding name and called it an afternoon. They actually put some thought into this. This time the killer pool is a killer pool because it's got healing powers, but the healing powers only work if someone gets sacrificed to the pool first. As I said earlier, a horror short doesn't have to worry about any of this because you don't really care why the killer pool is a killer pool. When it's under 10 minutes, you just know the pool's gonna kill someone, and that's good enough for you. But when you extend that to 90 minutes, 90 straight minutes of pool kills would get old fast, especially when you don't have very many ideas for how the pool will kill in the first place. So you intersperse it with scenes of the family learning what's going on and establishing their characters, which is fine, but in this film, the family is just your bog standard horror protagonist family. You've got the loner son who struggles to make friends. You've got the daughter who wants to date a boy. Scandalous. You've got the mother who is a mother. There is a little bit of intrigue with Wyatt Russell's character in that he's a former baseball player who's been injured in some horrific way. I think they say he's got like multiple sclerosis or something, and he discovers the pool's healing abilities, and it lowers his guard enough for the pool to then possess him into wanting to sacrifice his son so that he can heal himself. 1 minute. Yeah, hi, I want to leave a message for Aaron Rodgers. Yeah, I just want to let him know, the movie Night Swim, not a documentary. All right, thanks.
Marco, you need to say something back.
So all of that is ridiculous, right? But what's the story of the short film? Well, there is a lady who goes for a swim at night, if you weren't sure, and she thinks she sees somebody that she recognizes, but it ends up being a shadowy, mysterious creature, and when she tries to get away from it, she gets pulled under the water, the lights in the pool go out, and when they come back on, she's gone. But because the feature film has to add all these extra bits establishing the family, their relationships, the fake-outs, the lore, finding an expert on killer pools, fighting and defeating the killer pool, the obvious sacrifice to the killer pool, and then the ending itself, that what you get is a movie that's so dragged out that by the end of the first hour, you're wondering, how the hell am I even still awake? When I think back to that VidCon back in 2016, I think about how I had a really great time. It was wonderful to see my California friends for that week, but when specifically thinking about Lights Out, I wonder if it was just the perfect setting for me to look at that film probably more fondly than I would had I just seen it on my own in a theater. Because my 2024 viewing of Night Swim was vastly different, being a mostly empty theater with no one except a couple of teenage kids behind me that were making out the entire time. And by the way, good for the two of you. I hope it works out forever. Thank you for the soundtrack. I really needed it. But after the dozenth time of the pool lights flickering, someone treading water thinking they'd just seen someone who isn't actually there, or leaning their entire ass over the edge of the pool to grab some inanimate object inside of it, your mind just starts to wander, and eventually you come to this conclusion. Get out of the pool! But would that it were so simple. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please fulfill the whims of the algorithm by liking, commenting, and subscribing to the channel. If you want to support my struggle, head on over to Patreon and get yourself some perks. Support me if you can, love me if you must, and have a great rest of your day.